Hello, summer class of 2017. I'm Heidi and Raina, and we'll be presenting our digital story. Um, so our story is The Crow and the Pitcher, which is a unit opener for the reading series that my school district uses, and it's Wonders in English and Maravillas in Spanish. And this is to present the big idea, which is to be a problem solver or how to face a challenge. So in the traditional lesson plan, kids might read on their own or read with a partner. They might identify vocabulary words. They might fill in a graphic organizer or answer questions in a journal. And what you see here is an image from the teacher's manual, which says to read aloud. So the kids might be following along as the teacher reads this out loud. And then you ask questions to explore the theme. What is the crow's challenge? Why does the crow keep dropping pebbles inside the pitcher? There's a review of onomatopoeia or sound words, and students' task in this is to just go back in the story and find an example of onomatopoeia. And then there's to identify the moral of the story, which typically I've had kids write in their language arts journal to talk about what they think of the theme. And then the publisher, McGraw-Hill, they have tried to make the series multimodal. They have attempted to have some digital content. For example, they could either the teacher could display this, or you could assign it to students and they could click right here and listen to the story. Other attempts at digital content are spelling songs or online games. For example, here's an online sorting game where kids just drag and drop into the appropriate columns for a word sort. And quite frankly, in my opinion, this is just about the same as a paper and pencil activity. You're really not interacting, you're just doing the work here. So it's really not that engaging. So now Raina is going to talk about some apps.
Yep. So the apps that we thought would be excellent to use is WorldBook Kids. It's available not only on the iPad, but also digitally on computers. It's a wonderful resource to use to give students the background information that they might not otherwise have. So going to the story, The Crow and the Pitcher, Place in the Desert, we thought it'd be wonderful for students to be able to explore this place that might otherwise be unfamiliar to them. And what's so great about WorldBook Kids is that it's not just a place for articles, but it also has these great videos of not only what the desert look like, but also the animals that are there, which is such a way to link our story to this modal application. Another application we thought would be wonderful is Tales to Go. It's a digital resource that has books that are available for students. It basically multiplies the number of books that a teacher can offer to their students in a classroom. There's so many more stories with morals that Tales to Go have, which would be great for students to be able to compare and contrast. You know, how is the moral of this story similar to The Crow and the Pitcher? How is it different? Just a lot of wonderful resources for students to explore just like the text of The Crow and the Pitcher itself.
So on this one, this site is called glogster.com, and it's an interactive poster. So this could be used for delivering the content or information. This is a screenshot right here that talks about the author, Aesop, and you can click on these links. There's a video, and I want to show you this page in action. So here is the page. So for example, you could click here on this link and it takes you to another page where you could read more fables. There's a link for a video, which is going to take time to load up, but there it goes. So you can see that you could use this interactive poster to to give the content, but you could also use it for students to give a response. So you could do it either way, as for content or for a student response. So next we're going to talk about some different ways that students could respond.
So one of the apps that we thought would be great in allowing students to respond in more creative ways to this print-based text is Toontastic. It's an incredible app that allows students to, instead of telling or summarizing a story with just their words, retelling it to the teacher or writing a paragraph about it, it allows them to animate it and bring it to life with characters and their voices, and they can use different settings and basically create the story arc, but in a much more interactive and creative way. Another app that we thought would be wonderful for this little approach is Creator. When we're thinking about having students respond to literature, a lot of times we want them to make text connections. It would be amazing for students in the lesson to then reflect in and think about a time when they themselves went through a challenge and their best side was brought out. But Creator not only allows students to write a text, but then bring that text to life and then share it and collaborate on it with anyone, because it can be sent digitally and so easily. They can record their own voice, so it becomes a live read aloud. They can add in photos and videos and links. Just really allows their own writing to be much more creative. Another app that we thought would be a much more engaging way to interact with this text was with ChatterPix. What's really fun about ChatterPix is you can take any picture and animate it. And what that does is it allows whoever the picture is to look as if it's talking. So you can imagine here in George Washington, we could have a picture of the crow from the story, and students have to then take on the perspective of the crow. And instead of just maybe writing about the perspective of the crow or telling, oh, what would he say? A student could really bring that out by using this app and then sharing it, or of course collaborating on it with their peers. And the other app that we were thinking about using is KidBlog, and this is an incredible app because it allows both students and teachers to maybe pose a question or a prompt, and within the classroom community have the ability to digitally have a conversation, which is quite incredible. Of course, we've all had live book club discussions with our students, but it was amazing to hear feedback when we've used KidBlog in the past. Students really valued this sort of the wait time that they gave themselves when they were writing a response to a question, that they really loved the ability to craft a response, have more time to edit it, and go back and make sure that what they were putting out there was really what they thought and meant. So of course there's pros and cons, but it's a really great place where students can comment on each other's ideas, respond to each other. Really, really great resource.
And then also on this site, PBWorks is a wiki site, and I've used this with kids before, and they get to collaborate. They can share on a wiki page either comments and comment about what the other student is saying. And what I like about this is that it's protected, and we need to think about internet safety with our kids. They can only access this with the code. Parents can see it, but they can't even interact. So it's a very protected site for the kids to work on collaboratively. Another site is letsrecap.com, and this is a video response website. So very similar to VoiceThread, and I know a lot of you use Seesaw, so it's a very similar thing to that. And again, you have the safety because you cannot comment on this unless you have the class code. So kids would be able to make a video comment, and then the teacher can comment on their video comment. So really similar to VoiceThread, what we're using for this class. And finally, in the traditional lesson, at the little section of the teacher's manual that I posted said that they would respond or they would write about the theme. And this, you could do the same thing here with Picklets or a meme generator or any kind of website or app where you add text to an image. And I think that involves much more critical thinking. You have to think about the picture you're putting up there, think about what you're writing, and it just involves many more skills than just writing in a journal about what you think the theme is. And so finally, I think when we think of traditional print-centric lesson, the student is that solitary learner interacting with the text in isolation. And by changing to a more digital or online format, students are able to collaborate and interact socially around a text or a theme. And as David said in the mini lecture slides, it's just much more engaging for kids.
Thanks for watching.